Marco has been stealing from us for 10 years, and Luca knew the whole time. Those words just fell out of my baby brother's mouth. My world didn't just tilt, it shattered into a million pieces all over the worn-out tile floor of our family's restaurant, the very floor my nana scrubbed on her hands and knees. The smell of garlic and oregano, a scent that has always felt like a warm hug, suddenly turned acrid and cold. I'm Sophia, the middle child. The one who does the books, who deals with the staff, who actually runs this place while my brothers, Marco and Luca, take all the credit. This restaurant, La Famiglia, it's not just a business. It's our legacy, the only thing our father left us before he passed. And now, I'm staring into my brother's eyes, and he's telling me the two men I've loved and trusted my whole life have been systematically dismantling it from the inside. My heart is a caged animal, thrashing against my ribs, trying to break free from the shock. It's a physical pain, a deep ache in the pit of my stomach. I feel dizzy. I feel used. For 10 years, I've been the loyal sister, the one who held everything together, working 80-hour weeks while they took their wives on vacation. And this is my reward. So, I have to ask you, because my head is spinning and I don't know what else to do. Am I in the wrong? Am I stupid for feeling like my entire family just died? If you were me, sitting in the middle of this mess, what would you do? Before you answer, let me tell you the whole sordid story. Subscribe to see how this nightmare unfolds, because trust me, you won't believe how much worse it gets. The words hung in the air like a bad smell. 10 years, Marco has been stealing from us, my brother Nico whispered again, his face pale as the pasta flour we used for the homemade ravioli. He was the youngest, the quiet one, the one who never caused any trouble. So for him to be the one to break this news, it made it all the more real. I just stood there, frozen, a serving tray of antipasti clutched in my hand like a lifeline. The clatter of the lunch rush faded into white noise, the laughter of our regular customers, the sizzle of the grill, the sound of my life, it all just muted. I felt like I was watching myself from the ceiling. Nico, that's impossible. I finally managed to choke out, my voice not sounding like my own. Marco, he's the eldest. He's the head of the family. Why would he? He's been doing it for a decade, Sophia, Nico said, his eyes pleading with me to believe him. I found the old ledgers. He's been funneling money through a dummy supplier. The money for the olive oil, the cheese, the wine, it's all been a lie. It's been going to a shell company he set up, Casadoro Imports. I almost laughed. House of Gold. Of course. He always did have a flair for the dramatic. My mind raced. The new car he bought last year, the trips to the Bahamas, the generous donations to his wife's pet charity. It all started to make a sick kind of sense. The anger was a hot, bitter liquid rising up my throat. I'm the one who stays here, who does the real work. I get here at 5 a.m. to start the dough, and I'm the last one to lock up at midnight. I'm the one who knows the vendors, the customers, the staff. My hands are calloused and scarred from years of working the ovens. I sacrificed my dreams of going to culinary school in France so I could help my father here. And Marco, the golden boy, the one who could do no wrong, was stealing from me? From us? Nico, I said, my voice trembling with rage. Why didn't you come to me sooner? Why are you telling me this now? Nico winced. It was then I saw the guilt in his eyes. The guilt that went beyond keeping his brother's secret. It was a deeper, more personal shame. Sophia, you've always been the one who fixes everything. I was scared. I was terrified of what it would do to us. I thought, maybe I could convince him to stop, that I could handle it. Handle it? Nico, it's theft. It's a felony. You can't handle a felony. He looked so young and broken in that moment. My heart ached for him, but it wasn't a purely sympathetic ache anymore. There was suspicion, too, a splinter of doubt. Why had he kept this from me? Why did he protect Marco instead of protecting our legacy? Before I could press him further, the kitchen door swung open. It was Marco. He was smiling, his face ruddy from the heat of the grills, oblivious to the bomb that had just been detonated in his own dining room. Sophia, what are you doing standing around? We're in the weeds, he boomed. Marco, the patriarch, our father's firstborn, The one everyone assumed would take over one day. The one who had his face on the wall with Nana and Papa. The one who I had looked up to my entire life. And it was all a sham. The weed can wait, Marco, I said, my voice dangerously calm. You need to come to the office. Now. His smile faltered. He looked from me to Nico, whose face was as white as a ghost. Then he saw the old accounting ledger in Nico's hands. The color drained from his face. It was like watching a balloon deflate. A slow, awful process. He knew. The walk to the back office was the longest walk of my life. Every step echoed with the sound of my own heart breaking. We sat in that tiny, cluttered room, surrounded by boxes of paperwork and the smell of stale coffee. Marco had the nerve to look defiant. "What is this about?" he asked, trying to sound irritated. "Stop playing games, Marco," I snapped, slamming my hand on the desk. The sound echoed in the small room. 10 years. 10 years you've been stealing from us. From this family. This isn't some corporate job. This is our heritage. Do you have any idea what Papa would think? The mention of our father made Marco's eyes flash with anger. Don't you dare bring him into this. I did what I had to do to keep this place afloat. The margins are razor thin. You have no idea the pressure I was under. The pressure? I laughed. A hollow, unhinged sound. You're telling me about pressure? I'm the one who's been here, putting out fires, dealing with a broken dishwasher, and an even more broken family. I gave up everything for this place, and you were just sucking it dry like a leech. Marco exploded. You think you're a martyr, don't you, Sophia? You think you're the only one who works hard? This is my birthright. I'm the oldest. I deserve more than a measly salary. I have a family to provide for. My kids need to go to private school. My wife wants a bigger house. What do you have? What do you care about? Do I have? I screamed back, tears finally escaping down my cheeks. I have the restaurant, Marco. The one you're destroying. He gave me a contemptuous sneer. You know what? It doesn't matter. I've already been making moves. I've got a developer interested in buying this place. You and I both know the real estate here is worth more than the damn food. I'm cashing out, and there's nothing you can do to stop me. The words hit me like a physical blow. It wasn't just theft. It was sabotage. He wanted to sell my home, my life's work for a quick buck. A billionaire developer looking to build condos. Everything my grandparents bled for, my father died for, it was all going to be torn down for luxury apartments for Wall Street bros. The ultimate betrayal. Over my dead body, Marco, I whispered. That can be arranged, he said, a chilling calm returning to his voice. You can't prove anything, Sophia. And even if you could, my lawyers would tie you up for years. By the time it was settled, this place would be a memory. I turned to Nico for support. He was the only one who could confirm my suspicions. He was my witness. Nico, I said, pleading. Tell him you saw the records. Nico looked at me, then at Marco. His face was a mask of pure misery. Sophia, you don't understand. Understand what, Nico? Tell me what I don't understand. The confession that followed wasn't just a twist. It was a knife to the back. It was the final, cruelest blow. Sophia, I couldn't tell you, Nico mumbled, his voice barely audible. I've known for 2 years. What? I gasped. He looked at the floor, unable to meet my eyes. Marco, he has leverage over me. I'm sorry, Sophia. I have something that he could use to destroy my life. I was trying to protect myself. What could you possibly have done that's worse than this? I shrieked, gesturing to the evidence of Marco's years of embezzlement. Nico took a shaky breath, his face contorted with shame. He found out about me and Kiara. I felt the air leave my lungs. What? I breathed. Kiara? Our accountant? The one who's been doing the books for us for the last 5 years? Kiara. The sweet, quiet girl we'd hired right out of college. The one who always brought us homemade biscotti. The one who I trusted implicitly with our finances. Yes, Sophia, Nico said, his voice cracking. It's been going on for over a year. And you know her husband Giuseppe. He's connected. He's got friends in, well, you know. If he ever found out, he'd kill me, Sophia. I stared at my brother, the youngest, the one I had always tried to protect, and realized he wasn't my ally. He was a liability. He had been covering for Marco so Marco wouldn't reveal his affair to Chiara's dangerous husband. Marco and Chiara had been working together, and Nico had been protecting them both. I wasn't just a victim of my eldest brother. I was a victim of my entire family. Please, Sophia, don't be mad. Nico begged, grabbing my arm. Marco promised he'd stop. He said he just needed a little more time, and he'd make it all right. And you believed him? I yelled, shaking him off. You let him steal from me to keep your secret? You used my life, my work, my future, as a bargaining chip to protect your pathetic affair? Marco leaned back in his chair, a cruel smirk on his face. See, Sophia? You're all alone. The fixer has a problem she can't solve. You have no one. If you go to the police, you destroy the family name, your father's reputation. And your mother? She's a saint. This would break her heart. Can you really do that to her? And if you try to expose the embezzlement publicly, think of the chaos. I'll just say you were the one who cooked the books, that you were embezzling to pay for your failed dreams. Why do you think they'd believe you over me? He was right. He had the community on his side. He was the donor, the face of the family. I was just the workhorse, the spinster who was married to the restaurant. The weight of it all crushed me. Not just the financial betrayal, but the psychological one. The feeling that my brothers had only ever seen me as a tool, a useful, reliable, and ultimately disposable asset of 10 years of my life. 10 years of waking up at 4 a.m. 10 years of missing holidays, birthdays, and weddings. 10 years of sacrificing my own happiness for a family that had never really seen me as a part of it. They saw me as an employee, a slave to their legacy. And now they were taking it away. The most cruel part wasn't the money. It was the realization that I had been the gullible one all along. The loving fool who thought she was the heart of the family, only to discover she was just the woman who cleaned up the mess. I looked at my two brothers, the only family I had left in this country. Marco, the scheming thief, and Nico, the weak coward. I felt something inside of me break for good. The love, the loyalty, the duty, it all curdled into a bitter, icy hatred. My voice was a low, dangerous whisper when I finally spoke. Get out! Both of you! Get out of my sight right now! I walked out of that office, through the dining room, past the smirking faces of my oblivious customers, and out the back door into the alley. I sank against the brick wall, the cold seeping through my apron, and finally let myself break down. I sobbed for the father I lost, for the family I never truly had, and for the naive girl who had wasted her life trying to hold it all together. They wanted to sell my home. They wanted to take my life's work, and they thought they had won. They thought I was weak, that I would just roll over and take it. They thought I was too scared of scandal to fight. They were right about one thing. I was going to fight, but not their way. I had a new idea, a new plan, and this time, I wasn't going to be the good girl. I was going to burn the whole thing down and build it back myself. For weeks, I played the part of the broken, defeated sister. I didn't fight back publicly. I just let them think they had won. Marco and Luca continued their casual indifference, while Chiara, the snake, continued to smile at me and bring me that damn biscotti. But while they were celebrating their victory, I was in the shadows, working. I have a friend, a forensic accountant I met in business school, a woman who was a shark. She helped me find the real proof, not just the ledgers Nico stole. I had to go deeper. And I found it, a digital trail, a paper trail, a trail of lies that would not only incriminate Marco but also Chiara, whose signature was all over the dummy corporation he had set up. But that wasn't my play. My play was better. I arranged to meet Chiara at a quiet coffee shop on the Upper East Side, far from Little Italy. She arrived, all fake smiles and expensive perfume, and immediately launched into small talk about the menu. I let her talk. I let her feel safe. Then, I leaned in. Chiara, I said, my voice calm and sweet as honey. I know about you and the dummy corporation, and I know about you and Nico. The smile on her face evaporated. She went white as bone. We're going to do a deal, I said, taking a sip of my latte. I have all the evidence, not just to send Marco to jail for embezzlement, but to ruin your life. I have documentation of every single transfer you facilitated. I have recordings. I also have photos of you and my brother together. I'm willing to bet Giuseppe would be very interested to see them. She looked at me with pure hatred in her eyes. I just stared back. No emotion, just ice. We're going to do a deal, I repeated. Marco and Nico will sign over their shares of the restaurant to me, fully and without contest. They will walk away with nothing. You will ensure the business accounts are clean of any wrongdoing. You will admit to nothing, but you will sign a resignation letter, effective immediately, and you will leave New York. If anyone ever says a bad word about me or this restaurant, I will make sure the files go to the FBI, the Times, and Giuseppe's desk. Do we have a deal? She hesitated, knowing she was beaten. She was a survivor, just like me. You're a monster, she whispered. No, I said, standing up to leave. I'm just the woman who finally realized she doesn't have to clean up everyone else's mess. Now get out of my city. A month later, I was standing in the middle of La Famiglia for the first time as the sole owner. It was mine. All mine. I had walked through the fire and come out holding the torch. I had finally found a way to honor my father's legacy by protecting it from his own sons. Am I in the wrong for doing what I did? Was it wrong to break my family to save my family? Maybe. But I know one thing for sure. I finally stopped being the fixer for everyone else and started fixing my own life. If you've ever been taken for granted by the people you love most, maybe you understand. This was my salvation. What would you have done in my shoes?